All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started up. My name is Mike Boyd. I'm the brand leader for the LED products, and I'll be giving an update on some new products that we've got coming up in the next couple months. And then our Chris Pickering, who's the Solera and Breeze EV brand leader, will walk through some important info on the Solera line and some areas that we've had a lot of success in recently. Let me go ahead and share my deck. If you guys could, if you have any questions as we go through the presentation, put that in the Q&A, and then we'll go through that at the end of the deck. All right. First technical difficulty, I can't get the deck to start.
I saw it, Mike.
Well, it came up, but it wouldn't let me go anywhere with it. How's that? Can you see that, Chris?
Yeah, but it's not in presentation mode. I'm seeing the
Yeah.
small version.
Right. There we go.
That's
All
good.
right, a couple of new products we've got coming out. So the emergency T8, which meets UL 924 when installed, which gives you 90 minutes, actually a little longer than 90 minutes of battery, is actually currently in stock. Came in about 2 weeks ago, so you guys can go ahead and start selling that. I'm not going to go through any pricing here on the presentation, but obviously if you're an end user or a distributor, you can go to your local LED rep to go get that information. It is flex color, so you can see it goes from 3,000 all the way up to 6,500K, and it is 15 watts, either 1,900 or 2,000 lumens. Some of the advantages that we have against the competition, you can see the first one is it easily connects into the electrical system, whereas with some of the competitors' model, you have to change out the sockets to go to non-shunted sockets to make their product work. You can see also that we have 210 degrees beam angle, which is greater than anybody else. So that's going to look obviously better in the fixture and give you better distribution. The next new product is just an update. So this is our 8-foot tube, which is two 4-foot tubes that connect together, but it's now available in flex color. It's also in stock, and you can see it's shatter resistant glass. Great product. Obviously allows for less damage than trying to ship 8-foot tubes, and comes with either FA8 or RD17 end caps. Next new product is our type A plus B, so hybrid T5 product that are single color, available in 2, 3, and 4-foot lengths, and color temps are 3,500, 4,000, and 5,000K. Some of these are coming into stock May 20th, depending on how much inventory we've got of the older model, which was a T5 total tube. So we'll be coming in, once we run out of the total tube, then obviously we'll stage the inventory so that the new product is in stock before the old product goes out. Next new product is a type B only flex color T5. You can see that goes from 3,000 up to 5,000K, again available in 2, 3, and 4-foot lengths. It is a shatter resistant glass construction, and its arrival date is June 16th. So we really give you both options. If you want a flex color design, use this model, and if you want a hybrid design, use the previous one. Next product is also already in stock. It's our 8990 M50-HAZ. So this is great for flood fixtures, 110 watt, which typically replaces a 400 watt HID. Both available in 120 through 277, a low voltage model, as well as a 277 480 high voltage model. You can see the part numbers there. UL certified for the two major manufacturers of Class 1 Div 2 flood fixtures, which is Kraus-Heinz and Appleton. And again, these are already in stock. If you'd like a sample of these, just reach out to me and I will get some on your way. Great product to get in front of distributors that call on the refining and Class 1 Div 2 type locations. Next update we have is basically adding an E26 mogul to E39 adapter. So our basically take our Edison models or E models and add that adapter. So now you can use it on any application, whether it be a medium base or a mogul base. This product is slated to be in mid-June. We're actually air shipping some product in just so we can do kind of a soft launch. And then the majority of the inventory will hit in July, middle of July. The nice thing about the adapter is it does not increase the height of the unit when you add it on there for a mogul base. So from a distributor's point of view or a contractor that's doing work in Class 1 Div 2 areas, obviously they can just keep this model on the truck and it'll do both. So if they don't know if it's a medium or mogul base up in the fixture, then no issues. They can just use the adapter. And that's my update. Again, if you have any questions, put those in the Q&A and we'll answer those at the end. Take it away, Chris.
All right, I'll take it over. My screen share going. And what we're going to talk about today is using Solera Solar lighting for data center construction projects. When we went through our NEMRA meetings earlier this year and our NAED meetings with our distribution partners, certainly data center construction was a hot topic. And I've got some slides here and a couple of slides that will show you the reasons why. And although we're talking about data centers today, just know that the same concepts apply to any what I would call major infrastructure construction site. So hospital, jail, other major construction project that might be a 2 or 3 or 4 year build cycle. These same concepts can be used on those construction sites as well. So let's talk about the data center construction market and why it was such a hot topic during our meetings earlier this year. Our data provider called Construct Connect reported that data center construction starts were at $10.8 billion in the fourth quarter of 2025 across 23 projects in the US. And that was an extremely large increase from 2024, which totaled only $2.9 billion. Total year to date in 2025 spending was $43.8 billion. More than double 2024 and almost 8 times 2023. And then the projection for 2026 is they are tracking over 63 late stage pre-construction developments with start dates in the first 6 months of 2026, totaling over $50 billion in combined project value. So clearly this is an extremely large market and growing quickly. When you look at kind of some geographic distribution, Louisiana and Virginia lead the pack, but there are a dozen states across the US that will have at least $1 billion in data center construction activity in their states. And over the next 6 months, you can see that, whether you're in the Northeast, the Southeast and Mid-South, or the Central and Great Lakes regions, very, very large percentage of the overall planned construction. You folks in the West, Oregon and Arizona, New Mexico had many, many starts in 2025. Fewer expected in 2026, but that will change again in 2027. When you think about a major construction project like a data center or like a hospital or major infrastructure project, there are several phases of construction that go on. It starts with site selection and land acquisition, and that's when most of you will probably first hear about these projects. You may see in your local newspapers or your local economic development departments folks talking about the major data center players trying to acquire land in your area. That may be your first indication that it's time to start paying attention to what's happening with these buildouts. After the land is acquired, they'll go through the pre-construction preparations, which will include the preparation of construction documents, permitting, getting will serve commitments from the utilities in that area. And then oftentimes, even before having let the building phase, they will start sourcing some of the longer lead time materials. After that, you'll go into the building phase where the core foundation and structural work happens. The shell of the building is put together. And then oftentimes there will be some other infrastructure like substations or fuel storage for future generators that will happen during that phase. Once that shell is complete, then you go through the interior fit out. Don't want to go through all the stages of that because nothing really applies to us in those stages. And then you'll have your punch list, final inspection, and ownership turnover. So, where can you be most successful to sell solar products during these different phases? The two key phases would be during the preparation of construction documents. So if you know the engineer or the architect that is working on the development of the construction documents, that would be a great time to make that sales call. The second time that is almost equally as successful is during the early site prep, when the GC is preparing the land for the pad placement and then the ongoing foundation work that will happen after the fact. Those are the two best times to get involved with the project. But even once it comes out of the ground, once you start seeing some of that core foundation work beginning, you still have some time to perhaps influence either the GC or the electrical contractor to get them utilizing solar during their construction phases. So here's what a typical site might look like, right? So this is obviously in the early site prep stage. This is a project that is happening in Wisconsin. And you can see lots of equipment, lots of earth moving, lots of lay down space. All of these areas do require some type of temporary site lighting during that construction phase. And I'll show you another project. This one happens to be in Oregon. Now you can see in some of these lay down areas, this contractor has brought in some generator towers to be their temporary site lighting. We've got a couple down here near these storage tanks on the lower right hand corner. We've got a couple over here on the left side where the employee parking is. And then even as we get into the mid stage of construction, when the shell is complete and they're starting the interior fit out, we still have a pretty large laydown yard on the outside here on the lower left corner. Again, lots of areas where temporary site lighting is needed during these phases. So here's what the contractors will typically do, right? So most of the time, here's what you would see. They're going to go out and rent a diesel-powered LED light tower. There are a number of companies out there that rent these. The overall market for light tower rentals in the US last year was $1.6 billion just for the rentals. These have a lot of advantages, right? They're reliable in all types of weather. It's very, very easy to scale because this is typically a rental item. So if the project increases in size over time, they can add additional rentals to scale it. And the equipment is very, very widely available from a variety of rental outlets. Some of the disadvantages and downsides, though, are the high cost of fuel and the logistics around constant refueling of these diesel towers. And we now see the nationwide average diesel cost is coming up against $6 per gallon. So the costs to run these things are getting higher and higher. There's obviously also the noise, the fumes, and the emissions that the burning of that diesel fuel costs. So they're not particularly environmentally friendly. And then logistics and the safety concerns around fuel handling on the site would be of concern to neighboring residents. So the option would be, rather than rent all those diesel-powered light towers, to use solar fixtures as the site lighting. And you could install these onto a wooden utility pole if any of those happen to be available on site, or use just a direct burial pole, which is a very simple install using an auger and a tamper, and place these around the site. So now our advantages are we have a silent and emissions-free lighting source, no worries about fuel deliveries or generator maintenance, and there's almost zero operating cost. So even during the typical time frame of the largest construction projects, which might be 3 to 4 years, you won't even need to plan to replace the battery because the battery will last longer than that. So almost no ongoing maintenance or operating cost. The only real disadvantages would be that there is a higher upfront cost, capital cost, associated with acquiring all of the poles and fixtures. And then we are dependent on sunlight to have these work. So we would need to size the system so that we are guaranteeing autonomous performance through several days of overcast skies or rain or snow, depending on the area of the country this is being installed. And it does require some additional planning to plan for the pole locations where they will be placed. And there will obviously be more poles than there would be diesel generator towers. So there's just a little bit more infrastructure planning, and it makes some movement around the site maybe a little more challenging. Let's go through and do a cost comparison of an actual project that we worked on in Texas. So the needs on this project were they needed lighting for worker parking in the laydown yards. They were concerned about obviously worker safety during the construction phase, the environmental impact of this project, and then their budget, obviously. We went through and did a layout and showed them the exact pole locations that we recommended, how they could minimize the impact on the site, and then showed that they will achieve an overall average of just under 1 foot candle and nice uniformity across this so we don't have glary spots or dark spots across this area. This happens to be about an 800 foot by 1350 foot parking area and laydown yard. So, were this contractor to go out and rent their diesel generator towers, that light tower rental would have cost them over the life of this project about $270,000. That assumes 10 light towers across this facility with an average rental cost of about $900 to $1,000 per month for the rental. Fuel cost, assuming a fuel usage of about 0.6 of a gallon per hour, would be $260,000. And then maintenance on the generators throughout that period is $75,000. So total cost over the 30-month build is about $605,000. On the other side, using solar fixtures, yes, there is the upfront acquisition price of $267,000 for the fixture and poles, some labor associated with sinking those poles in the ground and getting them installed, and then a little bit of mobilization, the rental of either a bucket truck or an auger and tamper to get those installed. So our total installed cost is about $333,000. Clearly a savings of almost $300,000 over the life of this project. And utilizing a nice 3000K solar fixture provides minimal environmental impact and a nice soft warm glow during the construction phase. So what types of projects or what types of products would you want to recommend if you're going to recommend a solar item for temporary site lighting construction? I would say open up our catalog to the area lighting page and choose from one of these two products. So on the left is our all-in-one RP Sal. This is the easiest to install and the lowest impact on the pole if we're in a high wind zone region. The drawback to the all-in-one is that it tops out at 6,000 lumens, and the battery is really only good for warm temperature climates. So if we're in the northern tier of the country, I would say the all-in-one is not the best item to recommend. So in the entire country, the SL Sal G3 on the right would be a very, very appropriate option. These are available in two light output options, either 6,000 lumen or 10,000 lumen. And again, the solar panel and the light engine can be aimed independently so we can ensure we're getting a nice southerly exposure on our solar panel to maximize the energy collection during the day and ensure that we don't have any problems with the batteries becoming fully depleted at night. Some people will ask, well, could I use the I series, the brand new I series, for this as well? And I would say, well, you can do that because the I series has more components, the EPA is higher. So it would require a larger diameter pole and maybe a higher or a lower gauge pole. So your pole cost would be increased. Excuse me. But if the consideration is they would like to have the ability to control the products remotely, then the I series would be an option for that as well. So where do you go to find opportunities? I showed some data at the beginning of this slideshow, and there's a number of services where you can acquire information about construction activity in your region. Dodge Construction Network, Construct Connect, Bid Prime are kind of the primary three that are really focused on the pre-construction phase. Two firms that are more focused on after site selection and after pre-construction and getting more into the selection of subs and whatnot would be Building Connected and Procore. And depending on the service that you choose, there's lots of different bits of information that are available that would include, who is the owner of the project, what is the planned build cycle, who is the general contractor that's been selected, what is the construction method that they're using? Are they doing a, spec bid buy method or more of a design build method? And that will help you tailor your sales presentation to the owner's needs and to the GC and or the construction manager's needs. Just a reminder that Solera provides you with lots of support resources to help in your selling efforts. So whether it's that you need layout and design assistance, you're doing a comparison of the photometric capabilities of the diesel generator tower versus solar, provide us with the information, a site plan, and we can do that layout and design and provide you a photometric calculation to give to your contractor or to the specifying engineer. We will also provide the opportunity to do a 60-day free trial. If maybe your contractor that you're dealing with is concerned, hey, I don't know if solar will work in this area of the country, let's give them a product and let them install it, use it for 60 days. If they like it, they can keep it and we'll invoice them. If not, they can just send it back to us. We'll tear up the invoice, no questions asked. We also have lots of pre-commissioning and pre and post-sales technical support available via your regional manager, myself, or our sales engineering department in Middleton, Massachusetts. So I just want to remind you, why are you specifying off-grid solar? Off-grid solar is a great option to provide lighting to any site, whether it's new construction, whether it's retrofit, whether it's an existing site, where you don't have easy access to on-grid power. So no need to have a grid source there. And if expanding, no need to add transformers or add lighting panel boards. You're really just using the power of an unlimited sustainable source in the sun to provide the power to that lighting. It also reduces installation cost on any site by eliminating the need for trenching and wiring and pulling copper wire to each location. It's an environmentally friendly option, as we talked about today, for construction sites. And then eliminating anxiety associated with copper theft. You can use that in any roadway application and obviously construction site applications. We've seen huge upticks in copper theft all across the country